We can remove the soot on bottom of pots and pans with a little bit of improvisation. Pour salt on the bottom of the pan and scrub off the soot using half a potato. The result is quite clear. If your lid has a broken handle, you can easily make a temporary one. Large bottles of vegetables oil often come with a handle that can be easily removed. Using scissors, make a hole and secure the handle on the lid with a nut and bolt. Now we can use the lid until we buy a new one. Remove the cap from the bottle of vegetable oil. Hold the flame near the cap for just a few seconds and using a skewer or toothpick, gently push into the soft plastic. Cut off the tip so that the oil can pour through. Tighten the cap back onto the bottle. Now we have a simple spout. The oil now pours evenly and slowly. Let's cook up a quick breakfast or lunch based on what we have in the fridge. We have 2 types of pasta. As you can see, they haven't stuck together even after sitting in the fridge. A little later, I will show you how to cook pasta properly so that it doesn't stick together. Put the pasta in a preheated frying pan with a small amount of vegetable oil. Cover with the lid and cook for a couple of minutes. Then give them a stir. I add meat to the pan chopped into pieces. It can be any kind of meat. Then we add in red bell pepper cut into cubes. The pepper is not cooked. So as it cooks, the taste will become brighter and aromatic. It'll be wonderfully sweet and at the same time remain crunchy. Next, we add beaten eggs and a pinch of salt. Reduce the heat to a minimum and cover the pan with a lid. In order for the eggs to cook evenly and do not overcook the bottom, we need to flip it over. And my favorite way is like this. Gently slide the dish onto the lid. It's not too difficult. Now I cover the lid with a frying pan from above, holding both frying pan and the lid tightly. Then flip it back right side up quickly. Cook for a couple more minutes and then it's ready to serve. Give it one more flip to a better presentation. Just repeat the steps as before. To prevent cooked pasta from sticking together, you need to do a few things. Always use pasta made from durum wheat. Make sure to cook the pasta in a very large pot of boiling water. Try to stick to the recommended cooking time, which is indicated on the package because you don't want pasta to be overcooked. Overcooked pasta tends to stick together. Drain the pasta in a colander and never wash it with cold or hot water because it will wash away the flavor. You just need to gently mix the pasta in a colander for a few minutes. Pasta that's made this way will not stick together, even when cold. On large packages of laundry detergent pots, there is a very convenient edge. When you pull on it, the package opens easily. It is a shame that we don't have the same kind of packages for dishwasher tablets. After buying sour cream that comes in a plastic package, we can transfer it to a glass jar. Close the jar with the lid and turn it upside down. Store it just like this in the refrigerator. A kind of vacuum is formed inside the jar, so sour cream stores much better. Did you know that we can slightly reduce the calorie content of potatoes? Peel the potatoes and then cut into small pieces. Soak in cold water for an hour and a half. Drain the water, then pour in fresh water and soak the potatoes again for another 10-12 hours. During this time, part of the starch and therefore the calories will be removed from the potatoes. In addition, the smaller the potatoes are cut, the more calories will be removed. Carefully take out the potatoes and you'll see just how much starch is at the bottom of the pot. Not only can dried mushrooms be soaked in water, but also in milk. Pour the milk over the mushrooms and let them sit for a couple of hours. The milk brings out the natural flavor of the mushrooms and makes them more tender. After draining the milk, boil the mushrooms in a small amount of water for about 15 minutes on low heat. It is easy to tell when the mushrooms are finished cooking. They will sink to the bottom. Let the broth cool a bit and gently drain, leaving a little at the bottom, since small particles and debris might be left behind. Today we're making a simple potato mushroom soup. Even cooking a simple soup can result in lots of dishes to wash out. To start, plug in the soup cooker and remove the lid. We start by adding some butter. You can also use vegetable oil. Then we add onion and begin to sauté. This is done with a touch of a button. Cook until the onion becomes soft and translucent. Then add a small clove of garlic, minced. Then add in potatoes, boiled mushrooms, and mushroom broth. And water according to your preference. There are marks inside that indicate the volume. Next, add salt and ground white pepper to taste. You can also use black pepper. Seal the soup cooker with a lid. The sauté mode is automatically turned off. Select the appropriate settings for making potato mushroom soup and press the start button. In exactly 21 minutes, the soup will be ready to be served. During the cooking process, the blender will gently mix the contents of the soup cooker several times, and by the time it's finished, the soup will be thoroughly blended until smooth. Here is how the potato mushroom soup came out. It has a perfectly creamy, smooth texture and delicate, delicious flavor. Not to mention, there is no need for ladles here. The soup cooker has a spout which allows you to conveniently pour your soup. The delicate, creamy texture of our soup is something to be admired. We start with ground beef formed into patties and begin to sauté them. Then I remembered that kids wanted sandwiches. To make their favorite sandwiches, the patties need to be flattened like hamburgers. Luckily, it's easy. Take a potato masher and carefully press down each patty. Form it into the desired shape. Now it's easy to make our sandwiches. Lay down a thin tortilla, then fresh lettuce, one of our hamburger patties, and lastly a slice of tomato. Fold and then wrap the edges of the tortilla to form a lunch wrap. Our lunch wrap is quick, simple, and delicious. I like to buy lettuce that comes grown in its own little cup. Bring it home and put it straight into a larger cup. Leave the plastic wrap on. From here we can immediately water it. Keeping it at room temperature, it will easily stay fresh for 5-7 days. Feel free to water it again if necessary. When all the leaves are used, it's time to give our lettuce a second life. Carefully remove the plastic cap and transplant the lettuce into a larger pot filled with soil. And in just a few days, new, fresh leaves will appear. I planted this lettuce just 3 days ago. Look how beautiful the young leaves are. You can also use this method to plant other leafy greens and herbs like basil. Here is a basil plant that I planted as soon as I brought it from the store. Now it continues to delight me with beautiful aromatic greenery for a long time. Everyone loves pancakes and crepes. Today we will be making some delicious pancakes. To prepare the batter, first add a pinch of salt to eggs and beat until thoroughly mixed. Next, begin to add kefir at room temperature, then add in baking soda and mix everything well. There is no need to sweeten the batter with anything, but we will add in 2 types of flour, whole wheat and whole rice. Continue to mix the batter thoroughly so that there are no lumps. It should become thick like sour cream. Set it aside for about 10 minutes. Do you remember how they used to oil frying pans in the old days? Back then there were no silicone pastry brushes inside. You only need half of a raw potato and a fork. Simply dip the potato in oil and then grease the pan. This leaves a very thin layer of oil in the pan. And that's just what we need. Today we'll be making miniature pancakes. I've attached a small nozzle to a funnel to make it easier to pour the batter. You can pitch the hole with your finger or make a small nozzle using a parchment paper. Then on a well-heated frying pan, add a thin layer of vegetable oil. Pour some batter into the funnel, keeping a finger over the hole of the nozzle. When you're ready, using up and down motions, pour the batter onto the heated frying pan. These pancakes bake very quickly. Carefully flip them over and let them cook for a few more seconds. Remove the pancakes from the pan. Add more batter to the pan and repeat for the next batch. When all the batter is used up, we'll have a full plate of mini pancakes. These pancakes came out tasting great. My children even love to eat them plain with no toppings.